What's up everybody? Today I'm going to be fixing my MPC 2000. It's on the bench here to get pads replaced because some of them were dead. I'd like to clean out some of the buttons because some of them are only semi-responsive. And I'm also going to be installing a time code upgrade, so it'll have a SMPTE IO. I'm going to start pulling this thing apart. I flipped it upside down on top of the pillow, and I'm going to use an electric screwdriver, remove some of these screws. Alright, so I removed these two screws on either side, the three top screws on the back, and also the three bottom screws that allow you to remove this piece right here. I think it should just come right out. Yeah. So you can pull this little front tray out. Put your machine right side up. There's actually one screw left. There's three screws right here that keep the faceplate on. So put all my screws in a little bowl, keeps everything together. I also had to pull the fader off, so this thing just comes right off. Now you're looking at the inside of an MPC, and what your goal is to get it nice and clean on the inside using some Q-tips and rubbing alcohols. Anytime you're working on any piece of electronics, you want to make sure it's completely unplugged from any power source. Doesn't matter if it's on or off. You don't want to get electrocuted, obviously. What I'm going to do about some of these buttons is I'm going to start pulling them off by pinching the bottom parts. You have to be kind of careful not to break the plastic, but you can maybe use two hands and sort of pinch the bottom. Got these grips that need to be kind of squished in on. Then you have a button underneath that you can press and test out, and you'll notice that if you turn the machine on and you press the button directly, you get a much better response than otherwise. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull off all of these buttons. Got all of my buttons removed. I'm gonna place them aside and commence the rubbing alcohol application. I'll show you how I do this. I was successful last time, but I didn't do all of the buttons, so still have some work to do. So I got the 91% rubbing alcohol. It says isopropyl alcohol right there. You can see what it is. And I put it on the Q-tip, and I'm just going to apply a little bit and kind of clean around the edges of the button, right? Making sure not to get any of the Q-tip hairs in there. So you may be able to see a little bit of dirt. Probably by the end of cleaning all of these buttons, you'll notice some dirt on there. You want to be real careful not to get any hair in the button. But as soon as you apply the rubbing alcohol, give it a press. Give it a few pressings. That will let the rubbing alcohol clean out the inside of the button. Right? You want it to kind of get inside there. It won't damage it electronically because it's alcohol and not water. So you basically just want to clean out all of these buttons and then reapply the button caps. And you can be pretty liberal with the amount of rubbing alcohol that you put on. Now I'm going to place the buttons back on. It's real easy to just push them into the little slots. Just make sure you don't damage the buttons in the process or drop any of them on the floor. Now that I got the buttons back on, I've fired up the machine and I've started testing these buttons, and they're just a lot more responsive than they were before. Although they're not perfect, not every button triggers every time I press it, but I'm actually getting every screen, which was not the case before. Totally, revolutionized by just a little bit of rubbing alcohol and some Q-tips. You can also use cotton swabs, but that's a great way to fix some unresponsive buttons. So this is the exciting part. I'm going to remove the pads, put on the new pad sensor, so I'm real excited. So you remove the pads and place them aside. I've already made an attempt at fixing the pads, which was unsuccessful. Just like, some rubbing alcohol on the ribbons. So what you do is right here, you see where the ribbons for the pads connect. How you disconnect the pads is you put two fingers on either sides of this little piece and you pull forward gently in order to get the things to unlock. So you can rock it back and forth, this piece, to lock it and unlock it. And you shouldn't need to use too much force. So now you can pull your ribbons out and they slide out real easy once that thing is unlocked. One thing I tried to do was clean these with rubbing alcohol, but it didn't really make a difference. Anyway, so now you're gonna just peel this off carefully, and it's gonna leave some adhesive behind. So that's why we've got some rubbing alcohol. Just try and be as slow and steady with it, and apply your force from all edges. Alright, so this is the old pad sensor. This thing is dead, it's worthless, you can set it in the garbage. Now I'm noticing I have a ton of adhesive residue left over, so I think my Q-tips might be a little bit underpowered. I really wish I had some cotton swabs, and maybe I could just use some regular cloth, making sure not to leave behind any lint. So the Q-tips weren't doing it for me. I had to switch to cloth for like a majority of it. It's just too much surface area to get with these tiny Q-tips. But now I've got a few little spots I'm gonna do to get the goop off. You know, you really want to get rid of all of this adhesive material. And the more force I apply, it seems like the better. Yeah, we're getting somewhere. Just be patient and be thorough. The more level a surface they have, the better off you're gonna be, because that will result in maybe some double triggering of pads, or worse, dead pad syndrome. It's good that I have light so I can kind of see where the residue remains. We got little dust bunnies near the full level switch. That's great. That's really groovy. You know, it might be gross to look at. But you know, it feels good to get that out of your machine. And that did the trick. I can actually now trigger it. It's a little finicky, but it's a 20-year-old machine, so I'm satisfied with that. Alright, cool. Good little side mission. Let's see how we're doing on residue. There's a little bit of residue still that I'm feeling. Put some real elbows into it. Now that I have the pad sensors in place with the holes lined up, I can see where I need to make my cut to get the ribbon cable to go into the slot. The ribbon's a little extra long. You just need to cut it down to size so that it fits. So I'm gonna mark it with a little extra, because it can actually bend and have a little bit of a curve to it as it goes in. So a little extra spine, don't go over 2 millimeters. And I've got that marked, so I know where to make the cut. I've got a straight edge and a X-Acto knife to make the cut with, and I've got my marking, so it should be easy to see where I need to do this. So one last time, check the surface right here. Feels pretty good. Feels like there's no adhesive. So basically cut mine crooked as fuck, which you don't want to do. Let's see if it still reaches. Oh yeah, we're in good shape. I just want to clean this up. So I'm gonna make this less crooked. Alright, I shaved a little off, but it's a lot straighter than it was before. Let's see how it goes in now. Oh yeah, this is pretty tight, pretty perfect. So I'm actually gonna pull the ribbon cable out and seat it after I put the adhesive down. I'm gonna remove the 3M backing here. Okay. Alright, I applied it as carefully as I could, and I'm off by like 1/10 of a millimeter, but it's looking pretty good. So at this point, I'm going to employ the use of a pen or pencil to help me bend this ribbon cable so that it can be slid into place. If you use a pen, then you won't be exceeding the bend radius of the ribbon. Also be careful not to touch it, because the grease from your fingers can actually destroy it. Alright, that just popped right in there. Yes, it is in. Alright, let me make sure it's fully as in as possible. That's about as in as it gets. Let's power this thing on and see if it works. Once this thing boots, I'm gonna give these pads a try, and hopefully we get 16 working pads. Oh snap. Minty fresh. Yes, okay, we are in business now. All of these fucking pads work, and I fixed the buttons. So it looks like now it might be time to try and install this SMPTE jack, which it looks like it's going to be pretty easy to get to. Yeah, it looks to be as simple as removing this plate that's in here. Take this part, and before it was blocking the jacks, now it's gonna be where the jacks go in. So you want this to show holes where your in and out markings are. So what I'm doing now is removing the lock washers from these. Just unscrewing these with my fingers, and you'll want to tighten them with the tool. You can use needle nose pliers to do that if you don't have a lock washer adjustment thing, but anyway, so I'm just gonna carefully slide this in and connect it to the blue multi-pin connector there. It's really easy to just slide this thing on in here, and you'll want to put the jacks out first, of course. Alright, so now that you have it lined up, you want to give it a good pressing. You want to press down on it, and that'll ensure that you are connected. And so once I fire this up, I'm going to probably see this SMPTE timecode option in my sync screen. So we're going to test that. Well, yo, I just got done modding my MPC and fixing it. Well, not really modding it, but installing an upgrade. And yeah, new pads. Yeah, boy. All right, I'm firing it up after installing this card and seeing if it works. This is the moment of truth. So I go to the MIDI page and I put it into SMPTE mode. Okay, that works. Yeah. I mean, I'm not very surprised that it works, but it sure fucking do. I feel pretty good. So now I'm gonna put my MPC back together. Now I have a SMPTE MPC. Yeah, I did it. I fucking did it. It can be used for anything. I plan on using it for rock music in my tape setup. But yeah, now it's back together in one piece, and I can start making music on it. So I'm really excited to, get the ball rolling with this thing. And yeah, thank you for coming to my TED Talk. I appreciate it. Goodbye.